Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is the National Girls Collaborative Project National Webinar, Brite, How a Virtual Summer Camp Made This Summer, a Challenging Summer, a Bit Brighter. We're so glad to have you here with us today. Thank you to those who are introducing themselves over in the chat. We've got some folks from Texas, from Florida, sunny Florida. We have some folks joining another person from Texas. So it seems like we've got a lot of the South represented here today. So thanks so much. And please take a moment to fill out the poll here on your screen. We will end it momentarily. Just for your information, this webinar is being recorded, and after the webinar is complete, we will share the recording as well as the slides and any other supporting documents on the same page where you were able to sign up. So you can check back there afterwards. So thanks so much for joining us today, and we're going to get started. I'm going to end the poll here on your screen, so you'll take a last moment to click your role if you're able to. And it looks like we have a fair amount of summer program and camp educators and staff here with us today, which makes sense for this great program we're highlighting. We have some community program managers, some university staff. So thank you so much to all of you for joining us today. So let's get us started. So to kick us off, we are going to just talk a little bit about the National Girls Collaborative Project. Then I will introduce our speakers and we'll get started in our conversations about Brite. So the vision of the National Girls Collaborative Project is to bring together organizations committed to encouraging girls to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and computer science. The photos you see here are just one example of how we facilitate discussion among stakeholders by offering structured networking activities at every NGCP and local collaborative event. During collaboration networking, dynamic discussions between individuals matching needs and resources can highlight ways for organizations to work together to impact the youth they are serving. We all know that there is a diversity of high-quality resources available, and many of you have little time to search for the strategies and content to improve your programs. NGCP helps you address this need via our website, our newsletters, online databases, social media, and webinars like this one. NGCP also seeks to strengthen the capacity of programs by sharing exemplary practice, research, and program models. When programs are stronger and more sustainable, girls are better served. We distribute these resources in an accessible format via Train the Trainer web programs, partnerships, and online platforms. And finally, we use the leverage of a network and collaboration of girl-serving STEM programs and champions to create the tipping point for gender equity in STEM. Some current partnerships include the Franklin Institute, the University of Chicago, and Lyda Hill Philanthropies with the If Then collection. NGCP also manages the Connectory and FabFems, two online databases that promote STEM programs and female STEM role models. While NGCP programs and partners are located in every state, we have collaborative leadership teams in 41 states. Today, NGCP facilitates collaboration between more than 38,000 organizations, serving 20 million girls and 12 million boys as well, since many of the organizations serving girls are also serving boys with engaging STEM and curriculum and activities. And with that, I am thrilled to introduce our speakers today. We have a great group of women presenting about their varied experiences engaging with the Brite Summer Program. So we will hear from Jen Stansel, who is the founder and CEO of the Hello Studios and one of the visionary leaders of Brite. She's coming on video here to wave and say hello. Hi, Jen. We will also be joined by Mary Fuller, the STEM program manager for the Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri, covering St. Louis City and the surrounding 28 counties. We will also hear from Sharika Adams today, who is the Executive Advisor for Morrison Mentors in Long Island, New York. She offers her expertise in contributing to strategy, development, and implementation for organizational policies, procedures, and ongoing projects to increase the organization's impact. Alongside Sharika, we have Soraya Scott, who is a program facilitator for Morrison Mentors. She continually teaches coding, graphic design, Unity 3D, and Photoshop to students from various educational districts. Soraya strives to continue to build up experiences and form connections to develop a more well-rounded skill set. Mary, Sharika, and Soraya all served as program leads and educators during the pilot of Brite this past summer. We're also joined today by Amani Weber-Schultz, who is a fellow at the Field School and a co-founder of Minorities and Shark Scientists. Amani was one of the scientist speakers who was featured in the Brite program. And finally, we have with us today Sheri Levinski Raskin, who is a consultant and evaluator specializing in informal and museum education. She is the founder and president of SJLR Solutions, LLC, and Sheri completed the external evaluation for the Brite program pilot program. So thank you to all of our fantastic speakers joining us today. We are thrilled to have you, and without further ado, I am going to turn it over to Jen Stansel to introduce and share a little bit more about the Brite program.
Hello, everyone. It's so great to be here with you today. We are so thrilled to be able to share Brite with you in this broad way. We have had an extraordinary summer, and we're able to bring together a collaboration with the World Science Festival, NGCP, and of course the Hello Studios to explore something new, to explore something that is all about the work that we have done with girls and improving their STEM identity. But we wanted to do that in a different way and had to do it in a different way because of COVID. And one of the things that we wanted to do was emphasize that girls could pursue their curiosity, could be bright, and could learn from others, have a growth mindset where they could explore unique intersections of science, interdisciplinary topics, and have a behind-the-scenes experience with their peers and with cutting-edge scientists. And so what has been so wonderful about Brite, and you'll see this play out over and over and over again as the wonderful women and men behind this program get to tell you exactly how we did this, that we brought together a 3-week summer program that was truly transformative for girls in a COVID environment. Online, collaborative, where girls got to affirm that they wanted to pursue science. It was amazing to see these middle schoolers go from, I think I might be a little bit behind, to, I never thought I could do this. And you're going to find out how we made that possible for all the girls across the nation this summer in Brite. So thank you so much. And I'm delighted to turn it back over so we can hear more about the results of Brite.
Thank you, Jen. So here on this slide, you'll see some just key program goals for Brite. We were focusing really on fostering, as Jen said, girls' STEM identity, their belief in self-image and ability, as well as their STEM agency, which is about decision-making around STEM and thinking that STEM is an option for them to pursue. We also were engaging them in collaborative learning and sharing for relationship building, as well as engaging them in a unique interdisciplinary space virtually that could spark their curiosity and creativity. So now we're going to hear from one of our Brite program educators, Mary Fuller, as she shares her group's experience with Brite. Hi, Mary, we're not able to hear you. You're still muted.
I turned my webcam on, but I forgot to turn the mic on. Sorry about that. I'm Mary Fuller. I'm the STEM program manager with the Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri. As Marissa said in the introduction, our territory kind of covers St. Louis City and kind of northeast, so right along the Mississippi River. We are classified as a large council. I believe we are in the top 10 for membership. We had about 10 girls participate from all different schools all across the area. Many of them, if not all of them, had never really met each other in person before, so that was kind of a unique dynamic that played out over the first couple of days. We had girls from going into 7th grade to going into their senior year, so different backgrounds, different ages, different troops. We all came together for these 3 weeks in July. So like a lot of you and a lot of Girl Scout councils, we did kind of cancel our traditional camp season last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We did offer virtual camp, but it was definitely aimed more at our younger girls. And so when this opportunity was presented, I thought it would make a lot of sense for us to offer this for our older girls and really give them an opportunity to engage in a unique opportunity. So again, when I was looking at the opportunity originally and how it would fit into kind of our wider goals and the goals of Girl Scouts as an organization, and specifically the Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri, it really fit in well with what we call the Girl Scout leadership experience, which is kind of what guides all of our programming, whether that's badges or experiences, trips, or selling cookies, of course. And that 3 core implementation strategies are that things are girl-led, they have cooperative learning, and learning by doing. And Brite fit in all 3 of those, ticked all those boxes for sure. Girl-led, the girls were able to choose their activities, choose how they interpreted the assignments from the World Science U platform, which was very easy for them and for me to navigate and kind of make those choices about how they were going to pursue the activities. Cooperative learning, I'll talk more about this on my next slide. But yes, they definitely work together. We all work together to learn a lot of new things about STEM and science careers, especially, and just opportunities that are available to girls out there, or well, to anybody, but especially to young women, and learning by doing. So again, as they went through the activities, they learned by actually participating in these activities and being able to ask the questions. One of the things I really liked with the speakers in the World Science U platform is the girls were able to learn about the next day's speakers ahead of time. Maybe sometimes there's a YouTube video or a description or a website or something for them, and then they could ask questions. So they were able to take that time to think of questions, write out those questions, and then some of them were selected to ask live, which was really great. And I thought it was a really good way to engage the girls, because anybody who's tried to do any sort of virtual engagement with junior high and high school girls knows that sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get them to speak. So I think giving them the opportunity to write out the questions and just read them instead of having to think of them on their feet, I think really kept the conversation going and really made it a productive conversation. And there were a lot of really good questions. So it's fun to see what they came up with. As far as Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri specifically, one of our strategic goals is to engage girls at key transitions, and for that is the difference between 5th grade and 6th grade, but also to a lesser extent the transition from 8th grade to 9th grade. So those are kind of where our breaks are in our levels, our Girl Scout levels, and that's often, especially that 5th to 6th grade transition, is where we see a lot of drop-off in our membership, and especially this year with kind of fewer opportunities, we did see a little bit of drop-off there. So I found the Brite program and thought it would be a good way to engage those girls and show them that there are things you can do as a high school Girl Scout, as a junior high, middle school Girl Scout. And so I pulled a couple of quotes just that I thought really kind of exemplified. I asked the girls at the end to provide feedback and see what they see what they liked, and one of them said that the program was really fun. She loved the talks with the Q&A sessions and the activities. We did do the iWire game, which is a citizen science project that's available, and she got really into it. So it was really fun. So every day I would check on her and I'd say, Sophia, how many nodes did you identify? What have you been doing? And she had been playing it for hours. She did such a great job with it. But what really struck me about this quote is that she said that she would do that instead of just playing around on Instagram or Snapchat like she would usually. So that was really reaffirming to hear that they were really engaged in the content. And then also, this was another quote, that their favorite part was, of course, the activities, but also our Fuller House chat. So my last name is Fuller, and we were talking, and I kept saying, oh, I'll see you in the Zoom room, in our private Zoom room. And so finally, we just started calling it the Fuller House. So the girls would all come into the Fuller House, our private Zoom room, and we would have our chats there just for our group. And then also the Brite assemblies were a lot of fun. So as far as our schedule and kind of how I actually communicated with the girls, we would have our daily team meeting in the Fuller House. And that was usually about 30 to 45 minutes, so we would go over what we did before. Girls would have an opportunity to share their projects from the day before, anything, other housekeeping items we needed to do. The speaker, we're in Central Time, so it was at noon for an hour, which was really great. And I really enjoyed all the speakers, like even as an adult. They were absolutely fascinating. I know the girls loved them, and that I learned a lot and got really inspired about women in STEM as well. And then after that, we would have kind of a debrief and look forward to what was coming for the next day and kind of go over the World Science Platform and kind of what they needed to do, answer any questions. And this is where we got into some of our Fuller House chats. So one of the most important things about this and what I saw from the girls who participated from our side is that it was a chance for them to talk to somebody that doesn't live in their house. You know, by July, we'd already been on lockdown for 4 or 5 months, and a lot of these girls, you know, weren't in school, and so missing those connections that they would have had under normal circumstances. And so it was a chance for them to connect with these other girls, and we talked about books and we talked about movies and just different classes they were taking and what, you know, by that point it was kind of started coming out what schools would be doing, so like what their different schools were doing and what kind of things they did in Girl Scouts. And so I think that was really beneficial to them just on like a personal skill set level. And then I followed up with an email to all the participants, and then once a week at the end of the week I also included the parents just to be sure they knew what was going on. You know, we all know that teenagers don't always communicate everything accurately to their parents, so just making sure their parents had that information as well. And so I just wanted to share one quick story. I went backwards because I forgot to tell the story about this picture at the bottom. So this was, as I said, sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get teenagers to talk to you, especially when they don't know each other and they're, you know, it's new, it's virtual, it's all, you know, it's a little tricky sometimes. So I was worried that this was going to be just 3 weeks of me talking into the void and them staring at me. And this was an activity on the second or third day to use the whiteboard to make a collaborative art project. So again, collaboration is one of those big things from the Girl Scout leadership experience. And I just turned them loose. And I basically threw them in the deep end and said, I'm not helping you. You guys have to figure this out. And they came up with this beautiful picture. At one point, I had to go chase the neighbor's dog, and I came back, and they had done it without me. So that was kind of the moment that I realized that it was gonna work, and it was great. And I really enjoyed the girls, and it was good for me. Like I said, it wasn't just the girls who were getting tired of talking to the same person that lives in their house all the time. So I really enjoyed getting to know the girls. I think it was a great experience for them. And it fit in well with our Girl Scout goals and mission. So I have that. If you guys have any questions for me, put them in the chat, and I think we'll have some time for questions. Otherwise, I will turn it over to Sharika and Soraya with.
Thank you so much. So we are super happy to be here to share our experience about this awesome program. I currently serve as the executive advisor for Morrison Mentors. We are located in Hempstead, which is Long Island, New York, and we're a mobile STEAM nonprofit organization. So when I say STEAM, I'm just referring to science, technology, engineering, arts, and math for those who may not be familiar. And so you can see what our mission statement is right up on the screen, but our main focus is basically mentorship and STEAM. So in a nutshell, we teach STEAM to students in low-income communities, and we provide them with exposure to technology and experiences that they may not have had otherwise, which is why being a part of this Brite program was so awesome. So prior to COVID, we would physically travel to all of these different communities throughout Long Island, Manhattan, Texas, Virginia, and we even went to South Africa and conducted a few coding and robotics workshops. But as a result of COVID now, we are predominantly virtual. So just to give you an idea of the types of STEAM-based activities we do provide, we do computer hardware, programming drones, coding like website development, video game design, graphic design, and we also have a DJing program. So our latest venture is actually our STEAM Learning Studio, which happens to be a multifunctional facility that allows us to provide in-person and on-site STEM-based experiences for boys and girls. And so we decided to take part in this Brite program so that we have an opportunity to focus solely on the girls. So as we move on, so we really felt like the Brite program was a great opportunity for us to focus on the ladies because we believe that, representation is extremely important, and girls need to know that their possibilities are endless, and we're just happy to be a part of something that we can help equip them with the skills and the tools that they need so that they can be successful and their opportunities can expand even more. So the Brite program for us this summer served as more of like a prerequisite to what we call our STEAM Academy program. And so what happens is students are introduced to a variety of project-based activities that disarm their apprehension towards STEAM and encourages further exploration to tech-related fields. So our process consists of attracting local high school students, training them in the specific skills, and then providing them with an opportunity to reteach these skills to younger students, whether they may be elementary and middle school students. So the focus on peer-to-peer mentoring and reinforcing what they're being taught, these high school students also receive a stipend, so they have something to look forward to. So for the Brite program, we worked with 10 girls from Long Island with 10 different personalities, different interests, goals, but it was really a beautiful thing to just kind of see it all come together and to see how their level of their interest in STEM grew from the beginning of the program to the end of the program. And at this time, I'm actually going to pass it over to Soraya so she can dive a little bit deeper.
Hello. Thank you, Sharika. So during the first week, the girls explored the collaboration between art and science. This taught them that there are a variety of ways to create something artistic through STEM and the influence it has on others. For example, one of the assembly speakers, Yamile Toussaint Beach, created a Dance Through STEM organization that allowed her students to create their own choreography, projections, and props using code. This piqued our girls' interest in STEM because they were unaware of how science and art were connected and could be used to express themselves. In addition, we had a similar activity which consisted of creating a choreography through code. A representing clap, B representing snap, and C representing rubbing hands. During the second week, the girls were slowly starting to develop a STEM identity and continue to strengthen their relationships with one another while exploring the topics of dangers in science. They learned to create their own volcanoes and how finding small bones can greatly influence science. And lastly, during the third week, the girls learned about how the various aspects of the body affects the mentality and physicality of the body, through which they developed a better understanding of the parts of the brain and the areas of the bodies they influence. However, over the course of 3 weeks, we had some successes and challenges. One of our successes is that our participants were highly engaged in activities and icebreakers. This helped the girls to become more open with each other and prepare themselves for the activities to come. We will also use this time to go over any assembly questions or presentations they may have. However, over a certain time, it was becoming a challenge to keep them engaged for the next assignment. Our solution to this problem was to call them out one by one to see what they were in their activities and to give them encouragement where they fall short. There were some activities the girls found challenging, and sometimes they were too shy to ask for assistance or would address them at the last minute. If this was the case, we would go over the activity together and create little quizzes to get them caught up. Before ending the program, we encouraged our participants to complete a survey, which would allow us to gauge their level of interest in STEM as well as their interest in pursuing a career in the STEM field. As a result, 75% of the girls indicated that their interest in STEM increased from their participation in the program, and 60% of participants indicated that they were interested in pursuing a career in STEM. Also, one of our Brite girls is currently working with us as a mentee. So I'm just going to pass it back to Sharika.
Thank you, Soraya. So just a few suggestions for our future facilitators. As we mentioned, the overall program is a really awesome, an awesome thing for the young ladies. So a few things that we implemented, which we felt helped to, ensure the success of the program, the success of the girls that we worked with personally, was setting the tone. So at the beginning of this session, we went over the expectations and made it clear that this is a safe space for our girls to be themselves and to maintain a level of comfortability and respect with one another. They developed a connection with, not only their peers, but also with us as well. And we were all able to kind of identify with each other's interests, which made it so much easier to break the ice in the beginning. We also created our own playlist on YouTube, made up of each of the girls' favorite songs. And so we were able to listen to that while the girls would work on their different projects. So instead of logging out of our personal Brite sessions, we would actually keep them on, play the music in the background, and the girls would work on their projects. So as a result, they developed a new way to focus. They learned more about each other through music. The girls also learned more about themselves, how to work as a team, and that it's okay to express themselves and their interests. So as a result, they actually began to look forward to future classes. Another thing that was really important was communication. So we created a group chat via Telegram, which allowed us to communicate with one another even when they weren't logged into the Brite platform. So we also used it to send out reminders to log on by a certain time or to complete projects, as well as different gifts and memes, just to kind of keep things entertaining for them as well. And we still actually use the Telegram chat to communicate with our ladies to let them know about the current programs, events, and activities that we have. So something else that we also implemented felt was important was testing their knowledge. So we implemented a Kahoot game to capture what they were learning throughout each day in a fun and engaging way. So basically the girls were able to utilize their phone, or they could log onto their computer to answer questions, and it was basically like a competition. But all of the questions were based on the specific topic for the day. And to kind of reinforce what they were learning, we created a mini assessment / quiz, usually through a Google form, with the same questions that were on the Kahoot game. So to kind of see if, number one, they were paying attention throughout the day, number two, if they were paying attention throughout the Kahoot game, and number three, if they actually learned, if the information stuck. So we saw that with most of the girls who participated in the program received at least an 85 on the final assessment, which was a culmination of all of the questions that we had created for them. And recognition is important. So who doesn't like to be recognized, right? So Sarai and I would recognize one girl at the end of each week based on their level of participation, their engagement, whether it be through in the Brite assemblies, completing the different projects and assignments, as well as their attendance. So they were known as the Brite Mentee of the Week. So what we did was we created customized certificates. They were digital certificates. So after the Brite assemblies on Fridays or after Brite Fest, what we would do is have our own like mini celebration where we'd have the girls log back on, and then we would have basically all of the girls do like a little drum roll, and then that's when we would announce who our Brite Mentee of the Week was. And then each of those girls were able to receive a Amazon gift card. So continued STEAM engagement. Now, that's the ultimate goal, right? We want our girls to participate in this awesome program, but we want them to still be engaged. So one of our girls, her name is Joyanne, she participated in a coding program of ours a little while ago, but she was also one of the standout students for the Brite program this past summer. She happens to be a middle schooler, and during the Brite program, we noticed that she was really not just interested in STEAM, but like everything kind of made sense to her. She took on a leadership role where even outside of the regular activity time, she was willing to assist some of the younger girls with completing their projects. And so to this day, she's actually working with us on one of our local initiatives to assist local businesses with going digital, creating websites. So that's how you can see that, you know, this is actually working, and this program is helping us accomplish our goal of ensuring that the kids or the girls, whatever they learn, they're able to apply, and they're being deployed back into the community to actually put those skills to use. So overall, we really enjoyed just, you know, seeing the growth of the girls each week, the growth in regards to their mindset, their attitudes, and them participating in the program. They really gained a sense of community and were able to be their true unique selves while exploring and sharing their thoughts and interests and passion for STEAM. And so we'd like to thank you for selecting us to be a part of this whole process, and we definitely recommend this program. So if you have any questions for us, please feel free to reach out and send us a message in the chat. At this time, I'd like to pass it along to Amani, who's going to share her experience.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amani, and I'm an early career shark scientist. I graduated from Rutgers this past May with my bachelor's in science, and as previously stated, I am currently a fellow at Field School, and I'm also a co-founder of Minorities in Shark Sciences, which is an organization dedicated to creating a welcoming space for women of color in shark science and to help reduce some of the financial burden of being a marine scientist by providing financial support for internships. I loved being a part of Brite. I had so much fun on the day that I presented interacting with the girls. For my presentation, I walked through the different parts of a shark workup, which included things like drawing blood, inserting a satellite tag, taking lengths, and handling the shark. And the girls responded really well, and I got a lot of great questions. Some of them were simple, like what's your favorite shark, and what has been your favorite experience with the shark. And other ones were harder, and I really had to think about them. For example, I had one girl ask how I dealt with stereotypes and racism in my career as a black shark scientist. And another asked how I dealt with the response of family members to me saying I wanted to be a marine biologist and then eventually that I wanted to be a shark scientist. All of their questions made me really think about my experiences as a shark scientist more than I normally do. And overall, I just had a ton of fun because all of these girls were asking me amazing questions, and I could tell that they were really enjoying my presentation because of how engaged they were. And I also learned stuff about myself because I had to really think about my answers to their questions. So overall, I had a lot of fun, and if Brite is ever a thing again next summer, I would love to be a part of it. And I would definitely like to thank the people who organized Brite because I can see that it was definitely beneficial for me, and it seemed like it was really beneficial for the girls who participated in it. And so with that, I'm going to pass it over to Sheri, who's going to give an overview of the evaluation process.
Hi, Sheri, we are not yet able to hear you. Sheri, we're still not getting your audio coming through. Thank you, everyone. Bear with us for just one moment. Sheri, if you go to the meeting tab, oh, let's see, it looks like your microphone might be on. Okay, I think what we might do while Sheri is getting herself back on audio, I think we will scoot forward a little bit. We'll come back to the evaluation. Thank you so much. And so bear with us, please. I know I'm scooting through these slides, but we are going to just give a little bit about what is coming next for Brite, and then we will go back to the evaluation slides in just a moment. So I'm going to turn it back over. Sorry, I know the slides are kind of flying all over you for you right now. Hold on one moment. So I am going to change the slides ahead, and I'm going to invite Jen to share a little bit about what is coming next for Brite, and then we'll go back to the evaluation and talk through those. Hopefully Sheri's audio will be working at that time. Thank you for bearing with us. Jen, we're not able to hear you. You are muted.
Sheri, if you want to give me a thumbs up when you're ready, you let me know. As we think about what we learned, I want to just talk just briefly about the architecture here that I think we've shared a little bit in the chat. We were doing 3 weeks of camp, 3 different topics, Monday through Friday, in the center of the day. So we did that so that we could appeal to anyone on either coast. We did do mostly the Missouri on over, but as we think about how we might do this, again, if you're interested and you're coming from the West Coast, we'd love to hear from you early so we can think about how we can plan that into our 2021 sessions. The other thing that I want to say is that the architecture, I think, for Brite was extraordinarily strong in terms of the women, like you saw Amani talk about her experience. It was positive for the mentors as well as for the students. And I want to share with you that each of those groups of students, whether they were in Girl Scouts or a program called Girl Up in DC that was talking about leadership, or in a Marine Science Station in Florida, they were actually talking with each other. And that's so much of what our evaluation talks about, is what did they say to each other because they were in this program, even virtually. And we want to replicate this coming up in the next summer, because we know that we can deliver this high-end content and have students think about, actually have students really think about who they can become for science and push their frontiers in terms of that curiosity. We wanted them to see the intersection between neurology and art, and all of the different pieces were being put together for them, but they were given mentors that had really forged their own path, which again is why I think the STEM identity piece is so important. I think we're going to let's try Sheri again. Let's go back and give again that grounding in what we found out from the girls.
Right, so it seems like we're still having some technical difficulties with Sheri. So if I can actually lean on Jen a little bit more to talk us through some of these results, that would be helpful, and then we'll be able to field questions from the chat. Jen, right now you're muted. Jen, you are muted currently.
I did do that.
Oh, hey, we have
we can
Sheri
hear
with us.
Sheri now.
Yes.
Perfect.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. So sorry for slight technical difficulties, but I'm really excited to see all of you. I'm Sheri Levinski Raskin, and I was really excited to be a part of this Brite program. And as Marissa mentioned, my role was as the external evaluator for the pilot program. I'm the founder of SJLR Solutions, a consulting company for programming and evaluation in the informal space. So the assessment strategy for the Brite program focused on measuring change as related to the core goals, which you heard previously. So fostering STEM identity, fostering STEM agency, engaging a collaborative learning and sharing environment, building a community of girl learners and a support network among them, and sparking curiosity and creativity. So we collected a lot of information from all stakeholders, but to kick off with some of the results seen here on the slide, a key component of the strategy was to collect insights into the levels of the girls' self-esteem and changes over the course of the 3 weeks. So we actually asked girls to indicate the degree by which they agreed with varying statements, both at the beginning of the program and then again at the end. It helped us track change according to a specific scale. The questions and the method that we used was designed based on the Rosenberg self-esteem scale, which is mainly used in social research. At the bottom of the screen, you can see some of the questions that one of the questions that we asked, which was overall, I'm satisfied with my skills in science. Strongly disagree, agree, strongly agreed, agree, disagree, and strongly disagree. And so some of the other questions, just for your information, at times I didn't think I was good at science. Another, I can do science activities as well as most other people. And one more to share with you, most of the time, I think I could be more engaged in science activities. So based on that feedback, we actually noted in the first bullet that at the end of 3 weeks, none of the girls reported that at times they thought they were not good at science, which was incredible. We also saw that there was an increase, 535% increase in agreement that they felt they were good at science at the end of the 3 weeks, which was a huge shift and really exciting to see. Also on this slide indicates a rating of coolness regarding science, technology, engineering, and math from the beginning and the end. And here you can actually see that that 2% who said they didn't like it at all, not cool, they shifted their feelings and they shifted over into the cool categories. So some of that was really exciting to see. So measuring change regarding self-esteem and identity and agency is really more complicated than tracking skills or knowledge acquisition and ranges on a wide scale of both positive and negative feelings. And self-esteem, as we all know, fluctuates, sometimes even daily. So as I mentioned, we collected a lot of data. And in addition to what I already shared in my first slide and that overview, we also collected and analyzed weekly questions embedded into the World Science U platform. We coded posts and discussion comments shared by the Brite girls in the modules and on the Flipgrid platform. And we collected feedback from program leads and educators to inform next iterations of the program. Of the Brite girls' responses and comments, we identified that 57% of the girls who began each week finished the full 3 weeks. And we also found that there was an increased awareness in their identity and belief in themselves in 77% of the responses in their comments. And to give you an idea of what we were looking for references to identity and belief in themselves. We were looking for references to increased awareness of choices that were available to them, heightened interests in using STEM to problem solve. We were looking for identifying at least one characteristic or individual interest in the theme, and describing feelings that validated their interests in STEM. So here you can actually see the numbers of Flipgrid posts and discussions, which was great, and going through all of that. We also had a great idea. Jen actually had this great idea, and we put it into each week. There was an opportunity for the girls to select an emoji that identified how they felt at the end of that week. And so you can see there's a lot of grinning faces, smiling faces, thumbs ups. There's also some surprise or mind blown, which was really quite fun and cool. And then finally, as I mentioned, we also were collecting a lot of information from our program leads and educators in an effort in mind to improve for the next programming. We had, as you see here, 100% reported they'd do this again, that they felt they had a lot of information to confidently lead their group. We heard some examples already. I looked through all their responses and identified top trending topics that they talked about that was most fun in running Brite with their group. And as you can see, building community among the girls was one of those. It was one of the most referenced. And this is out of 8 programs. So you can see that 6 actually identified specifically building communities among the girls, which was really exciting. So it was incredible to see all the data coming in over the 3 weeks and to review the findings, as I said, to make improvements for the next program. And so to that end, I'm going to hand things off, I think, now back to Marissa.
Thank you, Sheri. So we are nearing the end of the presentation. You all have seen this slide before. Thank you to Jen for kind of stepping in and helping us smooth out some of those tech issues. And as she mentioned in the chat, spoiler alert, we will have Brite 2021 this next summer. So stay tuned for more information. We are planning to have space for about 20 programs to participate in Brite. So keep an eye out on our website, sign up for our newsletter so you can get all of the information and bring this fantastic experience to the girls that you work with. And we are now going to open it up to questions. So we have been tracking some questions in the chat that I will voice over, but other questions you have from the audience, please type them in there now, and we'll take some time to respond. So one question we had from the chat earlier came from Catherine Hughes, and she was asking about if the Brite program used a thumb drive with content and videos via virtual for connecting. So I think this is a question about maybe around reaching youth who maybe don't have access to internet, and was that a part of the Brite program? So anyone from our panel of speakers today is welcome to unmute and respond.
Marissa, I can happily take that question. We were intentional this year because of where COVID put us, that we thought that we needed girls to have access to a device. And the World Science Festival platform luckily works on a variety of tablets, and it even works on mobile phones. And so actually what we had people who brought together the devices, in some cases that the girls used, or they brought the devices themselves. That could be a change. We just knew that we weren't in a place by July to be thinking about a bunch of different providing the device, but rather delivering on a variety of devices.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, we just had a question come in through the chat from Carlos. I'm going to turn this one to Mary or Soraya or Sharika. Can you give an example of some of the activities that were run with the
I can take that one. There were a whole bunch of different things. A lot of them were web-based, so that was, there weren't a lot of material, so it was maybe do some research and then create a video about what you've learned, about sharks or whatever the topic was. There were only a couple where they had to create something, and it was very open-ended of using whatever materials you can find in your house. Create a model of the brain is the one that sticks out to me of something they had to actually physically create. A lot of, like I said, they used web applications or different things online where they were able to create using code.org with the dance party. I know it's a really popular one, so they got to use that. So it was already, since they were already connected to us and through the platform, we knew they had at least some internet access and device connectivity, and that was one of the requirements, that they did have to have access to a device.
Thank you, Mary. Sharika or Soraya, do you want to add?
Yeah. Another one of the activities that that the girls created was that they got to build their own volcanoes. You said that was there any concern about them having the materials? If anybody didn't have any, materials or stuff or anything like that, such as a few girls didn't have any materials to build a volcano, we'll just ask them to draw a picture of a volcano or draw, and then explain how a reaction of a volcano works. So that's some of the things that we did. They also design their own brain, build their own brain. Some people would use Play-Doh. Some would draw it. Some would, just they just use whatever resources they had.
Thank you. And I'll just
to
reiterate
kind of add a
some
little
of
bit
the
onto
things that
that,
were kind of
what we really appreciated was the fact that it was so flexible. So the Brite program didn't say, oh, you need to use 8 by 11 sheet of paper with certain colors or anything like that. The girls had the flexibility to use whatever resources they actually did have. So that's something that we appreciated as well.
Thank you. Thank you to our fantastic educators and program leads. I was just going to reiterate some of the other examples, kind of the online, fully digital examples that were referenced throughout the Morrison Mentors and Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri presentations earlier. So there were completely digital components to Morrison Mentors, highlighted the online kind of coding of a dance party. So that was using Scratch Junior, a free program where girls could go online and code. And those types of activities often had options. So girls in that instance had the choice to either code a dance party or to choreograph their own dance using technology, like, having lights turn on at certain moments of their choreography, or having music change at a certain moment, or things like that, and integrate technology into their choreography. And it was up to the girls to choose what they were comfortable with. And the Flipgrid platform is used as a way for them to record what they've done and to share it with each other and be able to see the great work and fun that their community of Brite girls was having. So I'm seeing some more questions coming into the chat. Did any of the programs mail or ship materials to their participants ahead of time? I see Jen responded a little bit here. We did not do that as Morrison Mentors, as Soraya and Sharika were mentioning. The program itself was written very flexibly, so there weren't any required materials per se. So say that girls were being asked to make a volcano, it was really out of any materials they had. It could have been a digital drawing or rendering. It could have been a paper drawing. It could have been made out of, flour and water in their kitchen. It was really up to them to think creatively and problem solve while engaging in the activities. Yeah, no one had a shark nailed to them. I know, what a shame. It would have been fun, huh? And I see someone in the chat writing about how their program did create boxes that girls could pick up in different locations to use during their programming. So that's fantastic. Yeah, it's something great to keep in mind for the future of this program. Yes, Amani during her presentation was really great at encouraging the girls to draw different parts of sharks. And they actually, I believe the activity connected with Amani was to research great white sharks and orca whales, killer whales, and to make the case for which was more dangerous, the sharks or the killer whales. And so they had to record videos of themselves making their case and convincing the other girls in their program which one was the most dangerous. All right, I'm going to pause for a moment, see if there are any other questions coming through. And actually, while I pause, sorry, I'm not pausing, I'm still speaking, but I'm going to ask any of our educators and program leads, as well as Amani, and any of our speakers really, if folks have questions and you are willing and able, please feel free to share your email in the chat so that people in our audience can reach out to you directly and learn more about how you were able to get this great program off the ground. All right. And with that, I'm going to encourage everyone, as I said earlier, to keep an eye out if you're interested or know a program that might be interested in joining Brite for this coming summer. Keep an eye out, sign up for our newsletter. Kata put the link in the chat earlier, and we hope to see you again soon. We also want to let you know that we have a YouTube playlist that the World Science Festival has created where you can watch some of the great scientist speakers talk about their careers, and you can see some of the fantastic questions that girls asked of them, as Amani was referencing earlier. Kata just put the link there in the chat, so check out those videos. They're really fun, really fantastic information, and would be great for any and all learners of any age. And feel free to join us for our upcoming National Girls Collaborative Project webinar, Celebrate Computer Science Education Week with SciGirls. We will be hosting that webinar on December 8th, and you can sign up at our website. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I see that many of our speakers have put their emails there in the chat. We appreciate your time. We hope you learned something. We were thrilled to share this program and its outcomes with you